So everybody, give a warm welcome to Peter Capaldi!
Don't forget.
Well, that was a good trick.
A lovely welcome, thank you so much. I love
Oh, you're going to sit closer to me. Thank you. Oh my gosh, what a treat. All right, so I'm going to start off. I'm going to ask you a question, and then we'll open up the floor to all these lovely people that are already lining up. Oh, this microphone's empty, isn't it? Oh, no. Oh, you guys are live. Yes, please, if you're at the front of the mic, just sit down for a moment or squat down so people go up behind you can see, and then stand up for when I gesture toward you. So, here. Thank you so much for coming here to San Francisco, first off. Speak for everybody when I say how much we appreciate you coming here and speaking with us today.
My pleasure.
So I have a question. Were you a fan of The Doctor as a child? And everyone else seems to know. And did playing the Doctor change you, like as a person? Do you feel like that's really impacted you?
Did it change me?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, yes, I was a fan, but that's because I grew up with the show. It started in 1963, and I was about 6, I think, when it started, and it was just on, and it was just part of life, like the Beatles. All these wonderful things that happened in the 60s, and Doctor Who was part of that. If you were a kid in the UK, we were very lucky. So yeah, I was always, but I stuck with it, you know, as I grew up. Until I reached about the age of 17 or 18, and then someone decided there were other things that I was actually be investigating. I went off and investigated those, and then came back years later. And has it changed me? I don't. I suppose it has, in the sense that I've been exposed to the world in this way. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here in San Francisco talking to all of you people if it hadn't been for Doctor Who. So that has changed my experience of the world hugely. So I guess it has. I don't think it's changed who I am, really, because one of the things I thought about the show was the important thing was to bring myself to it, as opposed to trying to alter myself terribly to play the Doctor. I tried to make the Doctor like me.
Well, I think you did a fantastic job of that.
Thank you.
I think that everyone did great. I guess we'll open up the floor. We have lots of people squatting right now. So,
Several years ago, I met with concept artist Ian McKenna, and he said he went to art school with you in Glasgow, and that he'd give you his first acting gig in Frankenstein, as well as a band called the Dream Boys.
Yeah.
Is this true, and do you still draw?
Yeah, how do you know Ian?
I was picking up some commissions from him, so I had some art that I was buying from him.
So Ian is, how would you describe Ian's position? What is it?
He designed Darth Maul.
He designed Darth Maul.
Artist who works in film today, and he's designed a lot of things for Star Wars and for other films for Marvel as well.
Okay, so he's one of the top designers,
Correct.
And particularly for George Lucas and for Star Wars and stuff like that. Yeah, we were all at art school together in Glasgow. In windswept Glasgow. And Ian used to I always remember, Ian would pass his desk and he'd be like drawing a monster or a spaceship. And I remember one of the teachers said to him, "You'll never get anywhere if all you spaceships and monsters. And look at him now. Yeah, no, he decided to run there was a dramatic society at the art school, so he became the chief of that, and he decided to do a production of Frankenstein. So he cast me as Dr. Frankenstein. What's funny about that? That would have been very good. Because we never got further than the first rehearsal. But yeah, he did that. He's a very, very gifted man, incredibly. I mean, his draftsmanship, even then, was just astonishing. So it was clear he was going to do big things. Me, less so. Thank you. You're very welcome.
Thanks so much. Over here.
Hello.
Hi there.
I have a question. So you were in Doctor Who as Callius, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that right?
Caecilius.
Caecilius.
Slang.
And then you're the Doctor, and then you were also in Torchwood.
Yeah.
If we all know, sadly, that you're not going to be the Doctor anymore, but it is a role that will stay with you forever, throughout your entire life. My question is, once the new Doctor comes in, will you ever be interested in coming back, not just as the Doctor, but as a different character?
Everyone oohs.
I think it's probably, technically yes, but I think it's probably time for me to not be around Doctor Who, for a while, because there's a whole new thing happening. So I think it's better that I stay in my.
It's like a metamorphosis.
I think it's better that I stay in my time stream. But you never know when those time streams overlap, or there's some leakage, or something. That can always happen. Thank you.
Over here.
Okay, first of all, thanks for coming out. It's really good to see you. And then, obviously most of the people here probably know you as the Doctor, but before that, you were in one of my favorite things ever, The Thick of It, as the foul-mouthed politician, Malcolm Tucker. And I saw that you brought a lot of kind of Malcolm's mannerisms, his prickliness to the Doctor. So, everything I've seen with you as yourself, you seem like a very warm, gentle person, and I'm wondering if there's a particular place that as an actor you draw from to play these irascible, angry, unpredictable characters.
Well, I have a very good friend who said, everybody thinks you're really nice. He said, I know that the real you is closer to those other characters. I said, what do you mean? That's not true. I think you just, I think you draw upon age. I think that, I got very lucky. I mean, I sort of became more successful the older I got, and I think that's sort of the way it works for some people, because I had sort of more to draw on. The more that life had kind of beat me up a little bit, the more that things had gone wrong and that I'd struggled a bit. I think that made me I had more stuff to play with then. So I think I draw upon the frustrations that having a sometimes complicated life can give you. But I think everybody has that. I don't think I'm a particularly unpleasant person. But I'm quite good at pretending to be unpleasant.
You're very good. Thank you.
Oh, we have a TARDIS over here.
Wow, I've been looking for you everywhere.
Hello. I gotta say, you started one of my all-time favorite episodes of Doctor Who, Heaven Sent. Great episode, but I have to ask, you have up to this point, and probably in the close future, have played the Doctor outside of the TV show. Sorry, outside of the TV show, like on radio shows and video games and such. Do you have any particular favorite of those roles or jobs?
What do you mean? I've played the Doctor outside of the TV show?
Like in video games and stuff.
No, I don't like doing any of those. Because they put you in the studio and they just give you the video game's not made, everything else is not made, and they just give you a list of words to say, and lines, and you don't see anything. You just got to throw yourself into it with no other actors and stuff. So I never see it until it's done. And I haven't seen any of them. So I prefer playing a Doctor for real in the middle of a battle with an alien threat. Which I can destroy. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Peter.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. My question is, I was always trying to figure out how to ask you this question. Over the years, since you've been the Doctor, you've appealed to a certain audience. And I wanted to know, over in America, we call somebody like that a silver fox. What are your feelings about how people feel about you like that?
Well, I'm a little shocked. It's not really the way I would see myself at all. I'm grateful that people find me interesting in any way. I would accept that, we just think you look a little funny. But I'm just very lucky that I have my wonderful wife. And she still likes me, so that's important.
Well, thank you. We are so blessed to have had you as our Doctor.
Thank you.
We miss you. Over here?
Hi, first I want to say I'm a big fan and see you again. And also, I remember one of the episodes of Into the Dalek where you acted more serious and more fun. There's just one question I want to ask. How did you feel when Clara slapped you right in the face?
I was horrified. Even in the script, I was like, are you kidding? The Doctor's companion slaps him? I thought, that doesn't feel right somehow. But actually it did work because Janet was so, she sort of takes care of business. And sometimes my doctor's quite serious and stuff like that. It can be quite overwhelming. But sometimes it gets a little bit too exciting. So sometimes somebody has to say, just behave. So I thought it was good. I thought it worked well.
Thank you.
But it was painful.
Also, just one last thing. Can you say "shut up, pudding brain" to me, please? Like,
Can I say shut up what?
shut up, pudding brain to me. That's one of your questions.
Shut up, pudding brain.
It's made his life calling him a pudding. Over here. Oh, we have another TARDIS.
Hello.
Hello.
So probably one of the most pivotal moments for your character for me probably was the Zygon inversion monologue. That just, for sci-fi sake, it definitely did bring people together in kind of a sci-fi way, and I miss that in the whole realm of like space opera stuff. What was your favorite moment so far, or a couple, if you don't have just one.
What of the whole series? There's so many wonderful things. I must just say that day that we did that was very interesting because it was unusual at that point to I know it was like 11 pages long or something. So they had to just wind me up and I just had to keep shooting it. But I had a great commotion going on because we were having a visitor that day. And there were a lot of mysterious men with dark glasses and earpieces, sort of. And we actually had the American ambassador, who was doing a tour. Who the American ambassador at that time was very diligent in his responsibilities and toured the whole of the UK, trying to understand the country and make contacts with people. And one of the places he came to was Cardiff, when we were shooting, and he was sitting watching that speech.
That was cool to me.
Well, it was really unusual because when I finished it, the first time I did it, there was a little round of applause. And someone had to say, we don't usually applaud after. But it was sweet, it was from the ambassador and from his team, so it was really nice there, and he was very kind in his praise of that moment. I think the show is full of so many lovely moments. Some of them are very personal, and some of them are ones that you might understand. And sometimes it just catches you when you don't expect. Sometimes there's just a moment which is a little collision of your childhood and your maturity and your fanboyishness. And sometimes it's a realization of how special this thing is that I got so lucky to do. I can remember once doing a thing where sometimes we have kids come to visit us who are not in great shape, and we had them at the TARDIS. They didn't know I was going to be here. They didn't know I was there. So I came on to the TARDIS, and they gasped. And I gasped. I'm Doctor Who. That was beautiful. So you often get very lovely things like that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Look at that outfit. I love it. Those eyebrows. How does your garden grow?
Well, so I want to say first, although I'm really looking forward to the new Doctor, I'm really going to miss you around. You are a fantastic Doctor.
Thank you.
But although I know you prefer being the Doctor on set and action with the TARDIS and everything, but I was wondering, is there any possibility have you talked to a man called Nick Briggs at all and discussed the potential of continuing adventures in the audio series that from Big Finish?
Yeah, I mean, Nick's fantastic. He's done a fantastic work with the Big Fish and stuff. I think it's probably just time for me to go away from Doctor Who for a while. I mean, Doctor Who is like all-consuming. It takes over your life, and I think it's good to go off on some adventures that nobody sees for a while, then come back.
Well, we're really glad to have you back eventually.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Capaldi.
Hi, Peter.
Peter, thank you. Trying to be respectful. You've said now a couple of times that you're stepping away, and of course there's always, it's prudent to make room for the next cast and crew to come in. What might be next for you? And specifically, might you consider doing as Mr. Hugh Laurie has done and start a rock band?
With all due respect to Hugh, who is a fabulous musician, I always think it's a little bit worrying when actors say it's time to concentrate on my music. And here's my new album, you know. No, I mean, you know, it's nice. I love playing music, and in fact, I just had a lovely time playing with. There was a great band called the Blow Monkeys, a great guy called Dr. Robert. and I've just been playing along with him in Spain, and he's been great. But it's just for fun. I'm not really good to go. I think I haven't spent my life being a musician. I think you have to give your life to these things. You know, you have to spend every day working on being a musician if that's what you want to do. And I haven't done that. But I love vamping and strumming the guitar and having a laugh. So that's so you may see me in a band, but it'll just be for fun.
Thank you.
What do we have over here?
Hello, why?
Massive fan, absolutely love you as the Doctor. We know that a lot of actors who have played both Doctors and Companions have taken memorabilia or props from the show. Do you have any that you plan to take, or that ones that you would love to be able to take?
No, I don't need anything. I don't, you know, I got to be Doctor Who. You know, I got this, I got, you know, I don't think there's a trinket or a little thing I would need. And also when I was a kid, as you may or may not know, I wrote to Doctor Who. And I got a letter once from the producer, who was called Barry Lenz, and he sent me 2 scripts, 2 full size actual scripts from the show that they were working on, hadn't even come on. It's called The Mutants with John Pertwee. And I'd never even seen a script for anything in my life. I didn't know how a show was made. And he sent me. It was so kind. And I've still got those. So that's my Doctor Who moment. Thank you.
Mr. President. Robert Reed. So when you created the character of Doctor Who for the 12, I was curious about the physiognomy that you created. As an actor, you stated that you wanted to create a sort of more alien approach. And really throughout, certainly in the first season of Series 8, there was quite the sort of praying mantis quality. I was curious if that was the direction that you were going in the sense that there's physiognomy and movement. And then consequently, as Rachel Tallahay has mentioned, sort of keep the camera fluid because you like to really explore the set.
No, I had a very distinct sort of visual image in my head, which was a kind of almost kind of spidery kind of black thing with scratchy kind of lines and dark with a piece of colour in it. Which of course I think we're all rather alarmed in the Doctor Who branding world when I confronted them with these ideas, because they would rather you had sort of a funny hat, a colourful thing that they could make a toy of and then they would sell and stuff. But I thought that was the wrong direction to go in. I thought you had to come at it from what you thought was right. The Doctor to me has, because of I guess the Doctors that I grew up with as well, had always had an element of profound mystery about him and danger. He was kind and he would always look after you, but he was not a human being, and so he was not always best equipped. I mean, I think he sort of developed, the Doctor was developed into this very sort of avuncular, kind of warm sort of character, but it was not always so. And I think I wanted to try and evoke some of that. But yeah, I saw him as this kind of, and sometimes you get into the TARDIS, sometimes if you're on black, you cut a very jagged sort of line. So I would do that and move around the room.
Yeah, I noticed with the arms in particular.
Yeah. And then I had too many breakfasts, I got a bit tummier. I said, we better get a velvet jacket. Get a velvet jacket.
Traveling and eating probably helps. Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
You're one of my favorite doctors, honestly, in the entire series, including the classics.
Oh, thank you.
And my question is, on the episode where it was essentially it was the final episode for Clara, we saw how the Doctor essentially fought and pretty much waged war with the Time Lords to get her out. What was your feeling reading the script of that episode and actually acting through those scenes? Like, what were you thinking throughout that whole shoot?
Well, I think the Doctor, I like the idea, I mean, tying in what we said before, was the Doctor that I wanted to play. I wanted him to have a sort of slightly, almost German expressionist, kind of European dark sort of quality. And part of that is a kind of obsessiveness, is that having locked onto an idea, he would then, to the exclusion of everything else, pursue that idea. And of course, when that aligns with a deep emotional bond, which is what he has with Clara, then it becomes like a heat-seeking missile, and nothing will stand in his way. So I think that episode, well, first of all, it was sad because I knew Jen was going. But then I thought, well, we have to make this the best drama that we can. And I will make sure that the Doctor fights with everything he has, with every ounce of brain power. He will deduce a way to get her back. He's wrong, but the power of his emotion and of his intellect is unstoppable. And she has to teach him that. So it's a great story, it's a very, very clever story, but he does some wrong things in order to get her back because he wants her back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, that's okay. So I'm a big fan. Your doctor helped me get through a really rough time with depression and anxiety, and I always looked forward to seeing the new episode coming out. So my question, I'm an actor myself, more like stage stuff, but I know there's always like mistakes, bloopers, improvised moments that happen. Do you have any like particular stories about like some kind of like improvised moment or blooper that may have happened that like just like really stuck with you?
We tended not to improvise very much because the scripts didn't really need it, and because there wasn't very much time. But sometimes something would emerge, come out by accident, and sometimes it would survive, sometimes it wouldn't. I'm only laughing because we did one in the Christmas episode. In which the original Doctor appears. And there was a scene which may have survived, it may not have survived, I don't know. But I called him Mr. Pastry. It just came out. I said, Mr. Pastry, get over here. For some reason that just seemed to fit the first Doctor. And then I realized that in fact there had been a period where there had been a let's call it a vaudeville act in the UK called Mr. Pastry, and that they had actually spoken to the man who played Mr. Pastry about becoming Doctor Who. So it was all kind of connected up somewhere, but yeah, so I hope that survives. You can wait and see, maybe it did.
Oh, do we have anybody over here? Oh.
Oh, no, it's the demons. It's my,
So let's say you were still the Doctor, and...
Do you want to do that with that goat's head thing? It's so creepy, isn't it? It's happening here in San Francisco.
I don't think...
Okay, all right. That's creepy. Okay, take it. ultimate. Take off the ultimate.
So, let's say you're still the Doctor. If you were able to bring back any companion from any season, what companion would it be?
I think I'd like to bring back Ian and Barbara. Who were the amazing, very, very first companions. Because they were so like, they were school teachers in the 60s. And they'd be like, what's happening to, why are people so rude about each other all the time? You know, I think they'd really be shocked by the world and by the dogs. But then more, you know, I think, well, there's some mates, you know, one doesn't like to, I think Tegan's pretty amazing. Janet Fielder. I think she's very fair and fun about her. Maybe it's because she was Australian. It was very unusual for the Doctor to have alien companions who were not British. So I think Tegan would be fab, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. First, I'd like to say it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you, to meet you. So, I'm a young actress learning my art, and I would like to know your feelings about acting. Like, what is your favorite thing about being an actor, and what does being an actor mean to you?
I think it's, I think probably the greatest thing about it is that you sort of escaped a dreary life, or a lot, you escaped, you got to join the circus. You know, it's not always great, but you didn't, you know, you have a different job from everybody else, and the older I get, the more I appreciate that fact, not just in the great success and the great delights and experiences like this are, but just in the fact that I always wanted to be not part of everything else. I wanted to be in the circus, so I got to do that. What was the other part of it? What do I think about
What does being an actor mean to you?
It means that I get to work with extraordinary people. That is the most incredible thing, is that you actually turn up for work with immensely talented people, both on the set and behind the scenes, and the people who've written the scripts, and you just sometimes get to see people who have extraordinary gifts and to be around them. So that is a very, very special thing, and acting has given me that. So I'm very grateful to it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Join the circus when the circus has dollars and Cybermen instead of lions.
Yeah, always has.
Hi.
Oh,
Peter Capaldi.
Hi there.
You've done so much for us with Doctor Who and everything, and I'd like to thank you by giving you this little TARDIS guitar. Something, think of it something fun to practice during your off time.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Is it a guitarist? It's a guitarist.
I actually don't know how to play, but he can verify whether it's.
That's really kind. Thank you very much. It's a ukulele.
You sound pretty good.
No, it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you. It's an electric ukulele. It's from the future. Thank you so much. Beautifully made.
Wow, that was really cool.
It's really cool.
Do we have anybody over yonder?
Anybody?
Which actor do you, sorry, which actor do you most look up to in life?
There's so many wonderful actors. I think Anthony Hopkins is awe-inspiring and phenomenal. There was a wonderful actor that we just lost a few years ago called I won't go into that. Yeah, no, I think he's wonderful. Gary Oldman, I think, is sensational. There's so many wonderful American actors. Jeffrey Tambor, I think, is one of the greatest actors ever. His ability to balance the comic with the tragic is absolutely extraordinary. Robert De Niro, of course. Just there's so many, but it doesn't even have to be someone famous. You can be sitting in a rehearsal room. We had a girl who came on Doctor Who to play with an episode called Knock Knock, in which there was the plot revolved around a girl who had been turned into a kind of wooden creature. And this actress came and played this part with this heavy layers of latex all over her. You couldn't see her face, you didn't know what she looked like. She was sensational. You know, and you think, I really admire that. So it can be anybody, it doesn't have to be somebody famous. Just people who do their best and are nice.
Thank you. And I love your Never generated shirt. Fantastic. Speaking of actors, are you excited for Jodie to be taking over, Peter?
Me?
I'm excited to pass the torch to Jodie.
Yeah, no, I think she'll be great. She's fantastic. Yeah, I've spoken to her. She's full of vigor and pep, and I think she'll be fantastic. Yeah.
I love you so much, but I'm very excited for our first female doctor. Over here.
Hi, hello, Peter. Wait, sorry.
I can hear you.
Hello, Peter. It's just you're one of my favorite doctors in the reboot series, and it's just so wonderful finally talking to you. I am literally about to explode with nervousness and happiness. But I just wanted to know which of the reboot series is your favorite doctor, except yourself, because I'm sure you probably like yourself as the doctor.
I'm the best. I'm my favorite. I think they're all wonderful. I mean, I think, you have to. David and Matt have extraordinary skills, great. I mean, Matt is this wonderful kind of, somehow strangely, he's an old head on young shoulders. You know, he's the most naturally cool of all the modern doctors, and yet he has this spirit of this monk somewhere in there, which is absolutely fascinating. I love David. David is great. Is the actor who brought, the essence of a role. He was the first time really the Doctor Who really was a romantic lead. It was the first time I really believed that the Doctor could have a kind of emotional life. And he brought also a great humour, a great aplomb to it all. So I think, David is sensational. And Chris, I think, the amazing thing about Chris, Chris Ferguson is a fabulous actor anyway, but I think what people don't realise is that, Chris came and did this show, there was no guarantee that the show was going to work. Chris was already a highly celebrated and respected actor, a great reputation, and he could have been coming to do this B-movie rubber monster show that might only last for 2 episodes. And he came and did it with all of the grace, commitment that is natural to him. And I always remember him doing that speech about feeling the earth turning, when he spoke about how fast the earth spun and that he could actually feel it happening. And I knew then that Doctor Who was back. So I would say as well also, we don't really see a great deal of because Paul did the American pilot. I didn't didn't get to do as much as he should have done. Again, had a great romance about him. And I've tried to pay tribute to Paul a few times, but it's quite tricky because his Dr. Moore a little S-bend, which he and I are aware of because they were running when we were kids, because we're the same age. So I tried to wear a little his little S-bend, but you don't really see it very much. He's amazing. They're all great, anybody who plays, Jodie would be amazing, anybody who plays the Doctor, wants to do it, so they bring a great love for it as well.
And are you utterly excited for the first female Doctor?
Utterly excited.
I'm utterly excited because it would be just wonderful to have a female Doctor on the show.
Yes.
Thank you, Peter.
You're very welcome.
Peter, thanks again for coming out to San Francisco.
My pleasure.
So speaking of rubber monsters, I wanted to know, being a Doctor Who fan yourself, was there any monster from the entire series that you didn't get to come up or didn't face in your run that you would want to do, or was your favorite monster from here?
From the entire vintage, I always, I always bring this up and people always, I think I just believe it slightly, but I just love when in the old days when they made Doctor Who, they had no money at all, and they made a show that lasted 54 years with no money and under a lot of pressure. And sometimes the people not caring about it. And the reason that it lasted 54 years is because they filled it with imagination. Sometimes they didn't have the wherewithal to deliver what their imagination was telling them, what their imagination wanted them to do. And when they did the old classic show, Web Planet, it was an insect planet. They had no money, they had no time. So they made a planet full of ants and moths and termites, which were just made of cloth and fiberglass and tight trousers and funny shoes and bits of cotton wool and stuff. But I saw it when I was a child, and it burned itself into my imagination. It lived in my imagination. So I would have always liked this to have gone back to the Web Planet and seen the Menoptera and the Zarbi and all of that, and as if we could have made them with our technology the way they wanted to make them originally.
Thank you, Peter.
Hi, Doctor.
Hi.
My question is, will we ever see Claire again?
I think you may. I'll see her. You may see her again too, but I won't spoil things. Say that. You may see her. She's still there. Everyone in Doctor Who is still there.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi. First off, I just wanted to say it is amazing to meet you, and also that I loved specifically the episode with Missy, where at the end you said that you were an idiot with a box and a screwdriver. So my question for you is, what was your favorite part of being Doctor Who? And if they had another thing where they got multiple doctors together, would you want to be a part of that?
I think it's time to go. You know, I think when you go, you should go. You know, it's, and also that's a part of the thing I've talked to you before. When I was a kid, I sort of believed he was this weird, wonderful thing. So if you kept showing up all the time in Big Finish or in multi-doctor stories, he wasn't so. He was more available, and I like that he's not available. So I don't know, maybe, but not for one. I think that the thing you miss really is just being Doctor Who. It's you wake up in the morning and that's who you are. Well, you are once you arrive in the studio, not obviously when you get up out of bed. And you have to go brush your teeth, and wash your face, and shower and shave and all that stuff. You're still me. That's pretty boring. I think it's just occupying that space, which is being Doctor Who. It's a big operation. You know, it's not just making the show. It's promoting the show, and it's contributing to things all over the world. And you are it. When you're Doctor, when you play Doctor Who, you are Doctor Who, and then you're not. So I miss that.
Thank you, Mr. Capaldi.
You're welcome.
We only have time for a couple more questions, so over here.
Hello, how are you? Would you like to show you your amazing?
Doctor, would you like a jelly baby?
Thank you very much. I have my own.
I wanted to thank you, Peter, for bringing a classic doctor to a modern era. I mean, truly, I think that your doctor was one of the classics. And the question is, if you could go back any place in time on Earth's history, is there a particular period you would like to go back and visit?
People always ask this question, and it's always a kind of pop answer, and it's a kind of personal. Here's the Beatles. They've come all the way back from the 60s. We love you. I think I would like to see. I think New York in the 30s would be pretty amazing to see. I think the pyramids. You know that question. The truth is, if you really answered that question, really honestly, you'd probably want to go and see some people that you don't see anymore. You know, that's probably what you do. If you had the ability to travel through time, you probably wouldn't go to see, the Empire State Building being built. You'd go to see, maybe your first day at school, or, so, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
One or two more questions, so we'll go over here. Pressure.
Hi.
Peter. My question will actually, I just wanted to say thank you for being an amazing doctor. Before you actually stepped into the character, I was already a big fan before I saw you on screen, because I could relate to how much of a fan you were and seeing you in that way. And being amongst all of the fans here, I was very curious what you're like growing up. And before you stepped into Doctor who was the person from Doctor Who that you met? And you're like, what was the first question you wanted to ask us? Because we're thinking all the time, what's our question? What's the one question we could ask? What was the one question you wanted to ask? What doctor or that first person that you met from Doctor Who?
Well, you've got to take your mind back to a time before all of this, because when I grew up, there wasn't any of this. There wasn't any opportunity that you would have to meet anybody. It wasn't fandom in this sense didn't exist. So you didn't occupy your thoughts in that way. So it developed, as I'm sure it does with all of you, actually in a very personal way. You have a very intimate and personal relationship. I'm sure you all do too. It's great. There's a kind of community that you can join, but Doctor Who is about the individual's own private interpretation of the show, which is why people get into terrible fights, because they have such profoundly different ideas about it, which is great that there's a show like that.
But for you, what was your question? What did you want to ask, like maybe the director or one of the actors if you got to meet them? Was there something in particular that you wanted to know about the show?
No, I'm trying to think what, because obviously I wrote to them all the time, so obviously I was asking questions all the time. But I think it was less that I actually wanted to know anything, I just wanted to be in contact somehow. I wanted to know about that world, I wanted to know how you got into that world, how you got to be an actor or be on television and stuff like that. So I guess I would want to know what was happening next. That was really my key question, really. What is happening next? What's the next? So I'd be like, oh, what's Jodie like? Oh, Jodie, what are you going to wear? Oh, who's your first enemy going to be? And what's going to happen in your next season? I'm sure it's going to be great. So I'd just be interested in the future.
Thank you.
Our last question. We don't have time for any more, but thank you guys so much for coming today, and thank you, Peter.